Is light pollution really serious in Hong Kong? The answer is pretty obvious. Look around you. There are lights everywhere. Hong Kong, a place that is world famous for its neon advertisement signs, is also notorious for its light pollution. So, you may want to ask, what is light pollution exactly, and how can we define it? First, we would have to understand the concept of illumination. According to the Oxford Dictionary of Construction, Surveying, and Civil Engineering, illumination refers to the lighting of an area or object that is usually artificial. And the Lighting Research Center of the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute defines light pollution as an unwanted consequence of outdoor lighting and includes such effects as sky glow, light trespass, and glare, which in other words means too much unwanted illumination.
In order to measure the light intensity in our three selected areas, Mong Kok, Central, and Causeway Bay, we download an Android app called Lux Meter on our smartphones to get the lux reading of these areas. And let's see what we find out. Now, let us take you on a quick tour to the street outside Langham Place in Mong Kok. This area is undoubtedly one of the most crowded areas in Hong Kong. As you can see, excessive artificial lighting was emitted from the neon lights, advertisement signboards, and decorative lights on the wall of the shopping center. The lux meter reading here is 206, and you can see that there are lots of residential buildings nearby. It makes us wonder how people living nearby can tolerate such strong lighting every day. Moving on to the central business district in Hong Kong. Obviously, the light pollution here is less serious than in Mong Kok, since Central has a lot of business buildings and most of it rests after 6 p.m. The lux meter outside the Central anti-hour station is 57 lux, which is comparatively lower than the Langham Place. Our last destination is in Causeway Bay, right outside the building of Sogo. Here, our measurement is 117 lux. Among the three districts, Mong Kok shows the highest light intensity, followed by Causeway Bay. In our field study, we get some results with the lux level being quite high, and we only measured on the ground level, so we can imagine that the residents living in the building in the area under strong illumination would be exposed to much higher lux levels due to their proximity to the advertising signs or decorative building lights. And that brings up the next issue. Would light pollution affect humans' health? The answer is yes. As early as the 1980s, there are researchers indicating 2,500 lux of bright white light at night strongly suppressed production of melatonin. And we all know that what you are thinking now. What is the difference of this result? We guarantee that you will fully understand the meaning of this by the end of our next part.
The circadian clock is the 24-hour light cycle. It plays an important role in physiologic processes in most organisms. For example, brain wave patterns, hormone production, cell regulation, and other biological activities. A study done by the U.S. National Health Institute shows that disruption of the circadian clock is likely to lead to health problems in humans, like depression, insomnia, cardiovascular diseases, or even cancer. Wait, light pollution and cancer? You may want to ask how these two seemingly unrelated issues are connected. The answer may come down to this hormone produced by the pituitary gland called melatonin. It does its work at night during your sleep and regulates your body's circadian clock. Your body will secrete melatonin at night under normal circumstances, and the melatonin level will drop significantly when artificial or natural lighting are present. This decrease of melatonin has been proven to increase the risk of developing cancers, such as breast cancer or prostate cancer. Let me show you this experiment featured in the 1st of December 2005 issue of Cancer Research to demonstrate to you how this works. The research scientists drew blood of female volunteers in 3 different conditions: during daylight hours, during the night after 2 hours of complete darkness, and during the night after exposure to 90 minutes of artificial light. The blood was then injected into human breast tumors that were transplanted in rats. The result shows that the tumors infused with melatonin-deficient blood collected after 90 minutes exposure to light during the night were growing at the same speed as those infused with daytime blood. On the other hand, the blood collected after exposure to darkness slowed tumor growth. The experiment demonstrated that darkness is crucial to forming melatonin, which can slow down the growth of cancer. By now, we understand the light pollution problem in Hong Kong is quite serious, but to really understand its severity, we have to do some comparison with the light pollution problem in other countries. That's why we interviewed an international student in CityU who has experienced the light pollution problem in both Hong Kong and another country. Let's see what we got.
Where do you come from? I am from Vietnam. Okay, so compare Hong Kong to your hometown. Where do you find it's more light pollution? Hong Kong, definitely. Okay. So, do you have any difficulties that you sleep after coming to Hong Kong? Not really. Not really. So, do you think the light pollution problem in Hong Kong is serious? In some areas it's serious because people live really close to like bright areas, so the light pollution is more than
From the response of our interviewee, we get the conclusion that the light pollution in Hong Kong is relatively more serious than that in Myanmar. However, as our interviewee has suggested, it's likely that her sleep cycle is not disturbed by the light pollution because she doesn't reside in an area that is too light polluted in Hong Kong. It's time to wrap this up. So after watching this documentary, what do you think about the light pollution problem in Hong Kong? Do you start to think that the light pollution problem is already unsalvageable and get really pessimistic about it? Well, don't be. There is still something we can do to reverse the effects caused by light pollution. A good way to do that is to reduce the unnecessary outdoor lighting. And the effectiveness of this method can be easily proved when you turn off the extensive lighting in the football field in Changchao. Many stars just emerge, and you can even observe the Milky Way. Last but not least, we made this documentary in the hope of making you aware of the problem of light pollution in Hong Kong. If you want to do something to help, you can click on this link and sign up for the Earth Hour campaign organized by the World Wildlife Fund. You can also do something more by petitioning the Hong Kong government to implement laws to restrict the usage of extensive lighting. After all, there is no better way to reduce light pollution other than simply dimming the lights.